I have really only recently been interested in the CBD aspect. I have heard anecdotally a lot of people have been having great results, just kind of trialing it. And one of the really neat aspects about nursing, and let me just give like a little quick disclaimer, is anything that I say is not medical advice. The scope of the registered nurse is basically for advocacy, for critical thinking skills, and for education. And that's my favorite part. That has always been my favorite part of nursing, is teaching, is really trying to get my patients and, from point A to point B in the system, or from point A to point B to C to D, here's what's going to come next. Here's what you can expect. Here's this medication that we might be providing, especially in a hospital setting and those kinds of things. And being able to say, here's what you can expect. I've also done a lot of teaching with nursing students. I've done a lot of teaching with patients. And that's just my favorite part, is that advocacy. Like, once you give people the information and the knowledge, they just have more tools in their toolbox to make decisions for themselves. And that's the best part. It's not a one size fits all world. And I think sometimes our healthcare community and our medical community tries to fit people into one size. That's the exciting part about CBD, especially from a health and wellness perspective, is that it just gives people different options.
Right. I've been learning about it too since, and I'll just let everybody know too, is we do both represent the same company, and our company just recently launched a patented liposomal CBD product. There's an oil and a cream. It's been 2 weeks. I've been using it and I'm feeling wonderful. I'm finding, instant relief, and a lot of areas of discomfort are feeling just better. So I wanted to let everybody know that's actually, so we're both in the same company, and I've been really just, trying to educate myself as well behind it, because not only is this the next, and I don't know, we'll talk into this a little bit, but I'm hearing that CBD could potentially be the next vitamin, and so that's fascinating to me when you think about how vitamin C was a big controversial a couple hundred years ago.
And
Have you
really, and
heard anything
now
about that, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think that what we're going to see is, the other thing about nursing that allows me to do is kind of wade through some of the medical and nursing research, right? So when you look at the research with CBD, there's probably, I don't know, there's thousands and thousands of clinical trials and studies that have been done in the past, say, 25 years. And if you look at current, there's probably another 2,000 studies that are in process, or that will conclude in the next 2 to 5 years, maybe a little bit sooner. And when you look at those numbers and you see that the body of evidence for this particular phytochemical, it becomes massive. I mean, I don't think we truly understand the impact that it's going to have, if it's going to become the next, must have in your dietary toolbox. I think that's definitely a possibility. And we know our scientific advisor, that's definitely his opinion. He's like, yep, this is going to be the next vitamin, and everybody is going to, it's like, well, if you don't take that, what's wrong with you, kind of a thing. So I think it's going to be really interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of great results come out of this. I think I like to look big picture. Like, when you see people, like you've talked about too, people that have had pain, chronic pain or chronic issues, and if they have the potential to just feel better for even part of their day, or to have some relief from discomfort, or some relief from anxiety, or some other aspect, just to feel better in their day, what impact that will have on them and their family, like just big picture wise, what that can do. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, I think the science in it is just going to be, it's really profound. It's really profound. It's a whole healthcare and medical, pharmaceutical, it's just going to be a boom. It's just going to be
like
an
a
absolute
movement.
boom.
It is a big movement, right? It is. It's changing, because, even if we're looking and we're reading and we're learning in our business school, that the wellness industry will surpass the healthcare. We're saying that healthcare and the sickness industry, industry is over, because we're finding more holistic, natural solution. So, all right,
Sure.
with that, I really, really wanted to have you talk about those because I found this fascinating. So, I mean, there's so much. I took so many notes, and I don't want to keep up
Oh
too
my
much of your
gosh.
time because
No, 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 this is fun.
I'm trying to get out and hike the mountain real quick too before it rains
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
morning.
yeah.
But you talked about, I guess let's just start with like the history because I liked how you talked about hemp going back for centuries
Hmm.
and being used in for ropes and sails and you know it's not a new obviously um, plant, it's been around
Right.
forever and the benefits. So if you just kind of talk a little bit about that and at the hemp seed and you know what I mean, is that making sense? I'm
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
all right.
So hemp, the reason CBD is such a big deal right now is because industrial hemp went through some regulation last year. And it seems new and everything in our, it's in our Facebook feed, it's on Instagram, it's in the news, it's in Forbes, it's been everywhere. But the reality is that hemp has been kind of part of the American culture for since the Louisiana Purchase. Um, People that went to Louisiana in those days to actually claim their plot of land, they were required to grow hemp and sell it back to the United States government because the government needed it for,
Right.
it was used in textiles, it was used in clothing, it was used in rope making, it was used, I think, in sails also. So it's been part of the American culture for years and years and years. And the stigma came along with it because it's a species that's close to marijuana, which has been illegal in the United States for many, many, many years. Um, the other thing about hemp is um, strategically bred so that it is THC free. So hemp has been part of also the vegan community and the vegetarian
Right.
community a little bit. Like if you go, like we have Sprouts in our area, right? That
Mm-hmm.
health food chain. If you go to Sprouts and you look at any of like the vegan protein powders, or you look at any of the a lot of the not the granolas, but the more of like the snacky kinds of things, like
Right.
hemp seeds and hemp powder, like seed powder, has been in vegan products for probably the past generation. So it's already been in our culture. It's just that it's not been as widespread.
I mean,
Has
even in beauty products too, right?
Yes,
I
even
mean,
in
we see it
beauty
in our
products.
lotions and
Absolutely,
kind of thing.
absolutely. So it's kind of it's really really fascinating now that this has become. It's exciting that it's become such a widespread. It's not just in the vegan community, or it's not just
Right.
those kinds of things. It's really exciting. But hemp has been part of the American culture for years and years, generations. So this is really exciting to see it come full force, and that
Right.
they've been able to develop a product that's something that across a population could be really helpful.
Okay, I love
Um,
that.
yeah,
And then I don't know which I want to talk about first, but I just thought it was fascinating when you had mentioned that, excuse me, our endocannabinoid system is the largest brain and nerve receptor in our whole body. Um,
yeah.
I wanted to talk about that and that how it's an adaptogen. So I don't know where you want to, start off with that kind of conversation because I just
Well,
was
it kind of
fascinated
goes
with
hand in
that.
hand.
Okay.
It goes hand in hand because um, the endocannabinoid system was um, discovered, quote unquote discovered. Discoveries always come about in kind of weird ways, but it was discovered in 1992 or 1993. These What they found was that almost every single one of your body cells has these receptors for CBD, and it's coined the endocannabinoid system.
So real
And
quick, can I like I'm just like my mind is blown. I was like, how come we haven't known about this until like the
I know,
90s? What
I
the
know, it's
heck?
crazy.
It
And they
just
were
I mean
looking
that's
at,
the evolving of our science and our
yeah,
technology, right?
right.
So okay,
And that's
go
what I mean.
ahead.
Like,
That blows me
like
away.
when I went to college the first time, or even, like in high school biology, we didn't have any of this. We didn't know that this was what was going on. We didn't understand, how this whole system worked, and and certainly the importance of it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what happened. There was some background to it in the 90s, and then in 1992, they really looked at the importance of this and how. So when your neurotransmitters, like things like dopamine, serotonin, or GABA, when they jump from one place to another, there are CBD receptors on either side of that, and the CBD actually helps them communicate better. those receptors have a tendency to break down in things like is specifically with age. Sometimes
Right.
those receptors don't work really well. We don't sleep as well as we used to. Our joints and muscles don't work as well as we used to, and that's all. It's all related. Um, the
Immune
adapt
system, all of it.
immune system, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
That's a
And
big
the
one.
adaptogen part comes because almost every cell in your body has these receptors. So the adaptogen aspect comes because the CBD could be binding in places like, in your peripheral nervous system, in the system that controls your muscles and your nerves, like in your hands and your arms, say. Or it could be binding to places in your brain, or it could be binding to places in your GI system. It really depends on where there's a
You need
deficiency.
it. Okay.
Exactly, where the
Yeah, this is
deficiency
what's
is.
just amazing. It's just
Yeah.
amazing.
And that's where the adaptogen concept comes from, is it? And that's sometimes it's very confusing for people because they're like, well, people seem to be taking it for this or seem to be taking it for that or this or that. And that's where the adaptogen concept comes from, is it's adaptable to different environments in your body so that it can fill that deficiency, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Help. Yeah, it's really beginning to make a lot better sense to me too. The more and more I study it and learn about it, because for instance, like knowing that it will actually enhance other ingredients. Like if I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking our Renew product because I've got aches and pains in my knees and my back and stuff from
Sure.
years of abuse and just being in my mid 50s now. Um, that my it will the CBD will actually help the acai berry and the curcumin and the shiitake mushroom and everything else do its job, right? So it kind of
Right.
like, just, I don't know if Tracy had given us like a number of how it enhances the other ingredients. So say, for example, if somebody's taking sleep, like they're taking melatonin, it may not be working for them.
Right.
From what I'm understanding, the CBD will actually, it could potentially help that neurotransmitter communicate
Exactly.
and do
It,
what it's supposed to do. Is that, can
exactly.
you
And
maybe
that
elaborate
sleep
on that?
product, well, that sleep product actually has GABA in it, which is one of the neurotransmitters that
Mm,
is
right.
required for quality sleep, for good REM sleep, and the melatonin, which helps also. So those two things together. So if you have the GABA, it doesn't. If you have all the GABA in the world, but you can't make the connections correctly because there's a deficiency in the CBD and the other side of it, then that CBD is going to help correct those deficiencies and help the GABA make the. It's almost like if you have a rusty door, the door is not going to open all the way until you grease it. If you grease it with the CBD, then it opens all the way and the GABA can get where it needs to go. That's the best analogy I
Oh
can
my
kind of
gosh,
think
I
of.
love that. Yeah, that's
But
a
it's almost
good
like
visual though.
it just helps it get from one place to the other, so
Mm-hmm.
that it can actually, it wouldn't matter if you had twice the amount of GABA in that product. If you don't have a smooth moving door for it to get in, it's not going to get there. Does that
Right.
make
And which,
sense?
yes, it makes complete sense to me. I love that explanation. And I mean, yeah, with our delivery system with the liposomal, so in our patent
Yeah.
it says it's proven to do what it does. It's
Yep.
doing it, right? I mean, because I take the sleep, not every night, but I did last night, and with my, CBD, and I slept like a baby.
I love it.
And it's just, it's really, really exciting because, you obviously being a healthcare professional, you are an advocate and you do want to educate and give
Yep.
your patients the best care and information, like you said, to make the best, healthiest decisions that they can
Mm-hmm.
for themselves. And that's just been a passion of mine too, because I mean, let's face it, we all want to have something that is, we're wiser now. There's so much more information. And when
Mm-hmm.
you have something that's out there, heck yeah, I'm going to share this, and
Yeah.
I want people to know that it's available and we have the best on the market. So,
Absolutely.
um,
And it's really important to me also, it's not only our patients, but it's my community. Like as a
mm-hmm,
nurse, you have friends that talk to you, you have family members that talk to you and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What should I ask my doctor for? What do you think? And it's really important to me that they have the resources that they need to be able to go forth and really see results, to be really effective in what they're asking for and to really see results and just feel better, to be
right.
confident in your decisions.
Right, and confidence is huge. And like you said, the our daily activities, if we can't do those normal daily activities,
Hmm.
it just shrinks you down. You feel horrible. And then your family, whether it's your husband or a spouse or your children, your friends, everybody misses out. Like you said, it's not just the one person that
Sure, it's
benefits
the
from
whole
it. It
community.
trickles out because, as a matter of fact, I mean, I've just talked to so many people, Dale, that are struggling with anxiety, struggling with depression, and that keeps you trapped, and it's a shame when
Yep.
we can, I think not only with a product like this, but as people, as humans and friends and relations, we're not
Hmm.
meant to do this alone, but we come alongside and we can help somebody balance those transmitters out, see
Yep.
results, and then they can get out and do the things that they want to do because they're
Sure.
they're feeling so much better, and
They're sleeping better, they feel better,
yes.
they can just, it just, I don't know, I just think that big picture wise, that just your quality of life is, I mean, why else are we here,
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. I'm trying to think. Let me see. What else did I want to ask you before I let you have your morning back? Do, 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 do. Oh, I know. So um, I've been learning too that that we have there's many of the different types of, I guess, the cannabinoids, right?
mhm.
In our broad spectrum, CBD, CBG, and da 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 da. But they all kind of go back to how they work. And our receptors, we have a CB1 and a CB2.
Yeah,
Am I
there's
saying
this,
that right?
yep,
One is
you're
for the
exactly
brain and
right.
one is for the body. Okay.
Essentially,
Um,
yeah, that's kind of basically how it breaks down. Yeah, and there's some research coming out that there might be more than that, which is really
okay.
exciting. And what they
Wow.
may find as they keep testing is that they may find that there's receptors specifically for CBD, specifically for CBG. Um, we'll see. We'll see what comes out in the next couple of
Right.
years. It's going to be really fascinating. But yes, CB1 is primarily your brain and your central nervous system. So think about brain activity